welcome back to episode 89. And if you recognise the voice, well done. It's me, it's Gaz. I'm in the driving seat again this week. It feels like it's been a while, actually, to be honest. I'm not quite sure how long it is, but it feels like it's been a while. So looking forward to this. Just before we crack on with the normal chit-chat, let's introduce our two guests. And I say guests, just regular co-hosts, I suppose. Beans, do you want to introduce yourself and let us know what you're drinking?
Yeah, cheers, dude. Yeah, I think it's most definitely hosts and not guests. I'd like to think we've earned the title of hosts now, not guests. Yeah. So I am drinking a Vocation barrel-aged Imperial Banana. So it is a chocolate and banana stout, and that retails for around about £5 in Tesco's per can if you want to pick one up. And it is 11.4%. And I tell you what, dude, if you like banana in your beer, which, guys, I know you don't, this is really, really sweet and really banana-y. Banana?
You're making it worse.
I told you it's 11.4, dude. Yeah, that's it. We're in trouble. We're only a minute and a half in. No, honestly, it is really good. It's fantastic.
Superb. Andy?
Hi. I forgot what I was going to say there. I'm drinking a McDonald's Coke, and also an old favourite of you guys. That Camden Marmite Marshite ale. Smells all right.
Oh dear.
It's not too bad.
What? Seriously?
Tastes like it gone off. Something gone off.
Oh yeah. I'll carry on drinking.
It's kicking in now.
Yeah. Hey, but do you know we've got a taker for the final can?
Oh no, seriously?
Yeah. Dave Carlis messaged. You know, we had him on. If listeners will know him from the Davil's Advocate episode. Yeah, he's messaging saying, "I'll have it if nobody else wants it." Dude, trust me, nobody else wants it. You can have it.
I think you have to give it a go. It reminds me of something like a cheap lager. There's I bought some from Asda years ago for £1 for 4, and it tastes like that. I don't know if you remember them when we went Wales.
Yeah, I do.
Tastes
yeah.
like that.
Oh no, it's a lot worse. They were actually very palatable in comparison.
Yeah, not for me. Well, I am drinking this week a good old, one of our favourite companies, Brewdog, and good old Punk IPA, which I do enjoy. So yeah, that's what I'm drinking today. Right, guys, what have you been up to? What have you got on your mind? What do you want to chat about? I've got a couple of things, but I'm gonna leave that. So I just wonder whether you guys have got sort of anything burning that you wanted to sort of chat about this week.
Well, it's like being in the doctor's office.
I know, yeah.
Got anything burning?
Yeah. I had a Marmite beer and it's playing havoc. Yeah, I mean, I tell you what, dude. I tell you what I've set up this week. I've been playing around with technology, which is always dangerous. And first of all, let me apologise if I sound a bit nasal because I am full of a cold. But yeah, I was thinking of ways where we could do it, because the good news is when Bo comes over, episode 90 something or other, Andy is going to be joining us. Gaz is going to be around the table as well. So we're in that unusual position where we use Skype to record, where we won't be using Skype to record. So we have to find another way. So we're going to have a go at live streaming it as well. Tried it with YouTube, didn't work so well, had some technical glitches. It just wasn't streaming to YouTube from a third-party app for some reason, but it does live stream to Twitch. So we set up a Twitch account, and so we will be streaming that episode live on Twitch. So if you are following us and you have a Twitch account, then please give us a follow, because we have 0 followers at this point in time. So that would be much, much appreciated. Maybe once we've got so many, we'll do a bit of a giveaway to encourage people to follow us. But the third-party app also records the video, so we can then use that on YouTube and take the audio off it for the audio version of the podcast. So that's what I've been doing this week. So we're also up on there, Tallboy Radio on Twitch, episode 21. I was asking Ken what the hell is Twitch. So it's taken us 68 more episodes to finally get ourselves on there.
There you go. The ever-evolving world of social media, as they say. Andy, you should be an absolute whiz at social media. You and your job, you should be all over Twitch, shouldn't you?
I know what Twitch is. Yeah, I don't use it personally, but yeah, I work in IT. I don't like to do it out of hours as well.
Yeah, so I just couple of things. Well, first of all, I do believe that two of our NFL teams clashed over the weekend, and I'm not meaning to brag in any way, shape, or form, but I do believe that the Bears now have a better record than both of your teams. Admittedly, we are only 2-2, so it's not a great record, but still better than you two boys.
2-2 is much better than 1-3, and certainly, I'm sorry, Andy, better than 0-4. I am not gloating. I am not gloating. When Andy was added into this bet, I'm thinking it's a winner. It's a shoe. We're having it.
And Andy's thinking, what bet? What was that? I don't remember that.
Yeah, exactly. I bowed out of it early.
No. Don't, because I'm nervous now, dude. I'm nervous. I fear I could be owing you guys a meal at this rate. You remember though when we talked about how the draft system worked. And I said, for the Steelers to be drafting somebody next time around, we'd have to have a stinker of a season. Is that what they're doing, or are they just that bad?
That goes back to the comment that I made about, if you were 0-10, 0-11, would just effectively throw the last 3 or 4 games to make sure that you got the number 1 pick. You know what I mean? I'm not suggesting the Steelers are going to go through the whole season so that they get a quarterback pick to replace Big Ben, because everybody knows that's what they want. However, I can't see them giving up effectively just writing up the whole season. If I'm honest, I think the Lions should probably write theirs off now because they really suck. And if we beat them, then, that ain't great. I mean, we've beaten, is it the Lions and is it the Bengals? Was it the Bengals that we beat? I think maybe.
No, the Bengals beat you.
Oh, who's the other one? No, the Browns beat us.
No, the Browns. Yeah, you're right.
I think the Bengals beat us. I think we beat the Bengals, and I think the Browns beat us. So, and the Browns are half decent.
Dude, that Bengals win that you guys had, that's their only loss. They're 3-1.
Well, obviously, it takes a good side to take them out, sort of thing. But yeah, so that was just a bit of news. Our QB Justin Fields played, and. Okay, didn't have a stunning game, but did what we wanted him to do. Total offense started to look a little bit better. We did have quite a big proportion of that being the running yardage, and our defense I think held them to about 90 yards of running sort of offense from their point of view. So overall, we'll take that. I still think it's work in progress, but that's our little bit of NFL corner as such.
Well, before you move on, dude, there's been a big move. We were talking about who we thought was going to win the Super Bowl, weren't we, last week? And since then, now my tip for the top, the Bucs. Have you seen who they've signed?
I'll let you divulge that.
Richard Sherman.
Absolutely, yeah.
That could be a game changer for them.
Yes, it could be, and he is extremely good. I do still think the Bills will just get there. And I know we spoke about this last week, and as I say, the Cheeseheads will be there, and as 49ers are a little bit hit or miss. There's a couple of teams that are a bit hit or miss, and on their day could beat them. But I just think the Bills. I think the Bills will be too consistent, too strong.
They'll be there. That said, we've won one game, and that was against the Bills.
Yeah, and as you say, you've beaten them, and then we're on about the Bengals, and we've beaten them, and they're now 3-1 as such. So, but no, a couple of things I was going to talk about really this week. I mean, obviously, we spoke about social media a minute ago with Twitch. Obviously, there's this Facebook thing that happened with the outages and various conspiracy theories about various social media stuff. What's your sort of take on that? Was it a done on purpose? What was your take? Was it literally just a glitch? Have they been sort of cyber attacks? What's your thoughts?
I don't think. Well, it could have been a cyber attack. You never really know. I certainly don't trust Zuckerberg. That guy could be a politician. He's that untrustworthy.
Do you know? He could end up going into politics, but. So you don't think it's a cyber attack, and you just think it's just a software?
Well, error? wasn't there a Facebook employee giving evidence or something to to the Senate or somewhere like that. I'm not sure. And I just think
there was some sort of whistle
very,
or something.
very convenient time, and Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp should all be down at that time. So that is it a coincidence or not? And would Zuckerberg get involved in politics? Well, do you know what? He already is, because he's involved with sort of big tech. So the politics in his back pocket. He doesn't need to get involved. He already pays for them to do what he wants.
Yeah. I don't know, and it just sort of started making me think about, who are the in terms of making the world go round. So, but if these companies collapsed, would the whole world collapse, sort of thing? And it started me thinking about like your Amazon, your Google, your Facebook, and your big, massive, huge companies, sort of thing, and I just thought it'd be interesting. Was it a cyber attack? Was it some sort of, secret group that have just thought, we've just had enough of it, and it's like power to the people and all that sort of thing? But I'm not sure. The other thing, obviously, this week was the Wayne Couzens, obviously the Sarah Everard story, which obviously doesn't sit right, because he was a serving police officer, and various. And I didn't like the backlash, just in terms of, somebody came out, I don't know who it was a serving police officer again. They said like, oh, women they should know the law more, and they should know that they couldn't be stopped for COVID related. And it's like, really, you're saying that? Like, that's like, excuse my French, piss poor, that is. You know what I mean? If a policeman comes up to you and serves you a warrant card, and you're not, unless you're a feisty individual and you proper know your rights, you're not going to sort of question him, are you? You know what I mean?
I think the trouble is, at the moment, he's exploited something there that nobody's 100% sure about, because there's so much dishonesty about COVID, and there's so much, you can't do this, you can't do that, and everybody's got an opinion on it, that all of a sudden this guy's come in and said that, and you think, well, is this true? I've read some stuff on social media that doesn't quite ring true, and it's unfortunate. And then that guy, to say what he said, is profoundly stupid and prejudiced.
Yeah, absolutely. And and you think, obviously, where he said it off his own back, and the police force are going to distance themselves from the comments and all of that, and I suppose rightly. But what goes through your mind to say that in the first place? Is like, oh, you need to be a bit more aware. Well, don't you look to the police to guide you? Do you know what I mean? If a policeman came up and said X, Y, and Z, I don't know. I don't know.
Example of you're like, if you look at all these top positions, like MPs especially, and judges. It's a lot of old people doing these jobs, and they don't know about how the world is nowadays. Like, you see, like, a top judge would be, presiding over a cybercrime case, and he wouldn't even know how to turn a computer on. It's like, you need to mix it up a bit, and I think there's one policeman turned around saying he wanted to ban tattoos for policemen. It's like, well, he's struggling for numbers anyway, so everyone has a tattoo nowadays. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Has he never seen Police Academy?
Exactly. It's just another example, though, isn't it, of an old dinosaur in a job they shouldn't be in anymore. They've died out now. Time to go.
So I mean, okay. So you look at head of the Met. So you look, is it Cressida, depending on how you say it, Cressida Dick sort of thing. Should she go? Is she accountable? Can and this is a real, I suppose, a moral question, and I say I'm going to put it in the firing line here as such. Is it always the person at the top of that organisation that should carry the can? Because can she be responsible for the recruitment of Wayne Couzens, for example? Can she be responsible for the decisions that he makes once he's in that role? Do you know, like, where? If it's not Cressida Dick, should it be Priti Patel? Is she, I don't know whether it's a Home Secretary that has overall responsibility for the Met Police or whatever, but, where does it stop? And I'm struggling with that.
I think in this case, you've got to look at it, the individual who's perpetrated the crime. And surely the blame has to rest on him, and no doubt that it does. But this person is without doubt a clever and deceitful individual, although there were some questions about his background already. But I guess everybody deserves a second chance, as they say. This guy obviously wasn't worthy of that. And as betrayed the trust that's been placed in him. It's like you say, it's a tough one. Should I mean, certainly I think to blame the people at the very top doesn't solve anything. It doesn't solve anything. If they're going to put in if they're going to put in the things to change it, to make sure these people don't slip through the net.
And that's my question though. So are they responsible because they have the policies and the procedures and the structures in place, and therefore this guy has he fallen through the net? Have there been various failings upon individuals maybe that should have checked DBS or whatever? You know what I mean? Have there been failings that have allowed him to do that, or is it just something that, you know, I suppose I'm saying, were there sort of triggers, were there clues as to what he perhaps could have done? Because there's all sorts of rumours that, you know, he committed something prior to the Sarah Everard, and actually it wasn't reported, and he's probably done this before. And so is it the person at the top then, because it's the organisational culture that's a problem, or not? And it just got me thinking, you know, ultimately where does it stop?
I don't know if blaming the person at the top, that's the easy answer. Well, we've dealt with it. We moved the guy away from the top. Don't get me wrong, the culture is exactly the same. We just got somebody else who's come from the same culture and who's doing exactly the same job as the previous guy.
And therefore, and he's institutionalised it. And I think that's the point. If you got rid of Cressida Dick and you then, you know, you promoted somebody from within, you know, or you're just promoting the same ideology, the same culture. I don't know. You know, it just didn't sit. It just didn't sit right with me that she necessarily was the one that should be carrying the can. And there's lots of people that are saying it should be her that should go. And I don't believe she should go. I think what perhaps should happen is there's an overhaul of their policies, their procedures, to make sure it doesn't happen again. Like you said, Ad, I think they can review what's happened and learn from that. But I'm not a massive believer that she should go.
I don't think that, like I say, I don't think that answers or solves the question. If she's not the person to put in place the new challenges and the new procedures, then yeah, she has to go. That goes without saying. Then you get somebody who can. Has he drank all of that beer?
I think it was that horrible. I think he's just done it, and now he's going on to his Mackey's milkshake or whatever.
It's been in the fridge for like a week or so, so it was all right. Nice and chilled.
It's grim.
Now I've got get my fat clown drink on.
So yeah, so, you know, so got Andy. What's your sort of take on it then? What do you think?
I was going to say it's stupid blaming the person at the top, because now they know about it, they can do something a bit more about it. But people like that are always going to slip through the net. You know, like if you look at like just local murders and stuff, it's always like the quiet, well, not necessarily the quiet one, but it's always people you don't suspect. And always afterwards, it's like, oh, we should have done this. It's like, well, what could you have done? Because it's just like, yeah, I mean, he was just a cop, or like, in this instance, he was just a normal cop. There's a few things that highlight it, but you can't. I don't think you can follow every little nuance and
because I suppose you look at, you know, and we did this. I think this is one of the people we spoke about when we did our serial killers. You look at someone, Harold Shipman. You know, he was a GP, he was a doctor. He killed over 250 people. You know, so there are these people. You know, Cyril Smith committed however many sex crimes. You know, he was an MP. You know, Jimmy Savile's a TV personality. You know, there's examples of people in, you know, I have to say everyday life, but you know, and there are these people perhaps will slip through the net. Maybe. I
think the thing is with Savile, though, there seems to be a number of people who knew about it.
Yes.
You know, whether it's in the hospitals or the BBC, you know, there was a huge cover up. They just thought, that's what old Jimmy does. You know what I mean? Perhaps they didn't realise the scale or the length of the depravity and the depths that he went to. Maybe they didn't know that, but they knew that he was up to something. And well,
and therefore and obviously therefore is that. And I suppose I don't know who it was at the time. I don't know if it's Greg Dykos, but whoever. I might be doing him a massive disservice then, but whoever it was at the time, who was the head of the BBC, whatever, you know, was that an institutionalised issue in as much as it was a decision from the top brass? We sort of know about it. We're just gonna effectively sweep it under the carpet.
I'll tell you something, actually. When we did the episode on Brexit, we had a message, actually, it just reminded me of this. And we actually, at the time, probably we wouldn't do it now, all spoke quite highly of Keir Starmer, didn't we? And one of our listeners messaged in and said, "Well, hang on a minute, you're talking about Keir Starmer. This is the man who was in charge of the CPS when Jimmy Savile was doing what he was doing and chose not to prosecute."
Yeah.
So
I think did I know that? I think I did. And I vaguely remember somebody else saying something about that. And it wasn't to do with our podcast. I remember reading it, and it was to do with when he was obviously, Labour leader and stuff. And it's like, whoa, hold on, this guy isn't. And obviously, Corbyn has his dissenters and people who don't like him. And I think it might have been in relation to that. And they were like, he was very sort of pro-union and pro-Ireland and all of that sort of thing. And then somebody come on and goes like, well, hold on a minute. Keir Starmer's obviously swept this under and he swept this under and he was responsible for this and he did this and he didn't do this and stuff. So, it just got me. And, my cousin, Tors, she's obviously, she works in the police office, and she popped something onto social media and just said, there's quite a lot of police that are getting sort of abuse and hate and that sort of thing. It's like, you can't be hating on all, you can't hate all GPs just because of Harold Shipman. You can't hate all nurses because of Beverly Allitt. You can't hate, do you know what I mean?
I do. I think
everybody with that.
We need a degree of trust in the police, because if we don't trust the police, then who can we trust?
Yeah.
And this is one bad apple, and it certainly didn't spoil the whole bunch. Unfortunately, he was caught after he'd done something, and not before. But it's not a reason to take it out on everybody else who does that job. Yeah.
No, absolutely. And you know what? I think the more we can try and educate people into that way of thinking, that actually, you know what, you can't tar everybody with the same brush, sort of thing. I think if we can get to the point where we get people to understand that, then we're in a better position, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So that, I mean, they were just, a couple of things that sort of crossed my mind for this week. Obviously, the Facebook stuff, the Sarah Everard stuff, obviously the NFL. In terms of some Arsenal, Adam, we've got an international break now. We're going to change track a little bit. Are you now slightly happier with your position compared to the Spuds, or are you still?
I'm happier, to be honest with you. I think I said when we talked about it, I've never been an Arteta out guy. I think he's a guy who the board have backed, or we need to back, because clearly he was allowed to spend some money, and some of that money he spent, I'm going to tell you what, he spent it pretty well, because the right back Tomiyasu, who we brought in, looks like an absolutely fantastic purchase. Your mate's son in between the sticks is doing phenomenally well. So I think defensively we're looking a lot brighter. What's going to happen with Lacazette, I don't know. What's going to happen up front, I don't know. But certainly the side that I'm looking at now, things are starting to happen for them. People got a little bit frustrated when we dropped points against Brighton, but it's an away game, and let's face it, we aren't that side with the Patrick Vieiras and everyone in it anymore. We're not that side. Yeah. We're just not where we need to be. If we can get and challenge for the top four, that's got to be our goal, is getting back into that top four. I'm not saying we're going to achieve it with this side. I'm not this year, not at all. I don't think we will. I think there are four better sides than us this year at least. So I don't think it's going to be another exciting season for us, but we'll see. I hope we can get back into the Europa League next year and just see what happens after that.
Yeah. So Andy, speaking of our NFL teams, I think our football teams played at the weekend as well. I'm sort of assuming that I will be slightly happier with the point than you. Would you have played Ronaldo? Where do you stand on that? Is there a rift between him and Ollie?
No, I think he just tried a bit of rotation, didn't he, for whatever reason. I'd have just put the strongest team out.
So would you put the strongest team out like every week, effectively, until they aren't playing anymore, and then you rotate from there?
Yeah. I mean, because there's like 5 changes. Whether it's Ronaldo or Cavani, it doesn't matter. I think they're both incredible forwards, but I think some of the other positions they should have thought on a bit more about. But yeah, it's 2 points in the bin. That's why I see it.
Well, honestly, I'm the same. I was delighted with a 1-1. I mean, obviously we didn't have Calvert-Lewin playing, we didn't have Richarlison playing. So, but yet again, one of our and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, one of our sort of bargain basement buys, Andros Townsend, has done fantastically well again. Another goal. Why he's not in the England squad, I really don't know.
To be fair, I think 1-1 draw was a fair result for the game. I mean, we didn't exactly, hammer you. Well, possession-wise, probably, but not shots and all that. It wasn't.
Yeah, I think we had decent chances. I think first off you were probably a bit more dominant. Second off, we did have a couple of chances and stuff, and arguably could have won it. I mean, I know Mina scored it. It was offside, the goal, the header, but I'd take a point away against United, like every time we play you guys. So genuinely and honestly, then Andy, where do you think you're going to finish this year? Then
top 4.
Yeah. Do you think the top 4 settled effectively? You're looking at Chelsea, City, Liverpool, United. They're the top 4 in whatever order.
I think so.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Leicester have dropped off. They're like 12th or something like that.
Yeah,
below Arsenal.
They must be bad then.
Else these Spuds ain't going to be up there. But yeah, I think that's the top 4. I think Chelsea looking really good this season.
Yeah. I put Man City down on my ACCA to win it this year. I have a bet at the start of every year, and I put a tenner on it, and it nets about 15.5 grand this year if they all come in, sort of thing. But I've got Man City in that to win it. Having said that, I do think Chelsea look decent. But I do think that you've got your top 4, and then you've probably got, and I will include Arsenal and Spurs in this because I do think they will be there or thereabouts. I think you've probably got another 4 or 5 teams just below them, and then you've got the rest, if that makes sense. So below them currently, I think Leicester will do okay, but you've got like us, so you've got Everton, West Ham, Leicester, Spurs, Arsenal, potentially. There's your 5, so that goes down to 9th place, and then it's pretty much everybody else. Leeds, they've started terribly, but could probably climb up there.
Brighton and Brentford are flying at the minute.
They are. I do think, I know they've had a great start. I do think Brentford might struggle towards the end of this year. That could have
been the same for Leicester though a few years back.
It could be.
They won it.
Absolutely. Yeah. What were they? Were they 5,000 to 1 or something stupid or whatever the bookies were saying? But they could. I mean, I know they've made a decent start, and I might be ruining this comment, come January, but I do think they might struggle a little bit.
You got to ask, is the squad big enough? And that level of tenacity, can you maintain that over the whole season? I don't know.
Well, is the squad big enough? Yeah. Is the squad good enough? Not sure. They probably have players in each of the positions, obviously.
No doubt. But it's whether the quality's there. I mean,
it's when you question it. And actually, I do. Teams like West Ham, they've got a decent squad now. I don't think our squad is great. I think 1 to 11 will give anybody a game on their day. But it's when you start looking at the players 12, 13, 14, 15. That's when you start thinking, okay, well, who can you bring in to impact the game? With the greatest respect, if you've got Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison playing, if one of them are having an off day and you bring in on bloody Iwobi, it's like, wow, that's like, I mean, how you got 40 million for him out of us, I've got absolutely no idea.
I don't think it's about superstars anymore, though, is it? Because if you look at like Chelsea's team, not every position's like made. There's not like a all-out world class.
I don't know, dude.
They're well drilled. They play well together.
And and they've obviously got Lukaku, haven't they? That's your focal point. So they've got him, and they've gone out and they've thought Werner, who possibly they thought was going to do it, didn't do it last year. So they've gone out and they've improved again. Kai Havertz, I think, is arguably a decent player. Mason Mount is a decent player. Ziyech is a decent player. They've got a decent side, to be fair, kid.
I'm not sold on half of them. I don't know, they're good, but I think it's just they play well together. It's sort of like Liverpool as well. They got a couple of decent players, and they've still got a lot of weak links in it. I think.
Now there's a shout. All you Liverpool fans that listen to us, feel free to make a comment.
I'll say it every time. I think they got a weak belly midfield.
a bit of Man United fan there, sort of,
No, United's the same. Our midfield's renowned for being weak. We've got a decent forward line, all right defence, and midfield's a bit of a mess at the minute. But like I say, though, like Benitez always seemed to get his team playing well together. Yeah. I think that's a big factor in it as well.
I think people say to other Everton fans, what's your thoughts on Benitez, and you look at his record, and I'd have taken him as a manager, without a shadow of a doubt. It's just that Liverpool connection, and I don't know whether I said it before in the podcast. I don't know if I have. I apologise. He likened it to moving from Apple to Samsung, or from Dell to IBM or whatever. He said, people will move jobs and they will then do their very best to work for that company or that organisation that they move to. And he likened it very much. He said, I have an affinity with Liverpool, but I also have an affinity with Newcastle because I've managed there, and I've also got an affinity with Shanghai, whoever it was he managed and stuff. So, I think the Liverpool connection doesn't sit right with quite a lot of Everton fans.
It's like George Graham.
But somebody mentioned that actually today, dude.
George Graham managing Spurs.
I was talking to a guy at work today, and he's a Liverpool fan. I had a really, really good chat with him actually, and he's sort of come on supply, but he's a top guy, and we possibly like to keep him, but and he mentioned George Graham, and he was like, when he was obviously Arsenal legend and stuff, then went to Spurs. And he's not quite held as high in esteem at Spurs, but he won them trophies. He went there and he won them stuff.
If you win something at Spurs, you are a legend because they don't win anything.
No, but he did, and this guy was saying that, and he said obviously back in the day George Graham was absolutely Mr. Arsenal. He built the foundations upon which Wenger came in and sort of took over, and yes, Wenger actually arguably changed the way that the whole of football is played. And I think actually you look at maybe George Graham, the Arsenal back four, offside. Then you look at Arsene Wenger, and I think the next generational difference was then Barcelona and the tiki-taka football that Guardiola introduced and all of that. So there's Xavi, Iniesta, Messi, those guys, Busquets, that tiki-taka football, and he's introduced. And I think that's perhaps changed the way the football's now played. And I think everybody's trying to do that now. You know what I mean? So I think there are generational talents, and I think players and managers, and I think Wenger was one, and I think Guardiola's one. In terms of how they actually change the way that football is perceived and football is played. You're not having.
I'm not sold on. Listen, I'm not going to question his managerial. It's beyond question, isn't it? With everything that he's won, and everything that he's done. I'm not sure he was the foundation for that. I'm not convinced. Don't get me wrong. Very, very talented manager. Very, very successful manager. I'm not questioning his ability at all. But whether he changed the game like Wenger changed the game, I'm not convinced.
Well, Cruyff gets the plaudits, doesn't he, for Barcelona? That's pre-Guardiola.
Yeah, I would say
he's just took it further, hasn't he?
So effectively, you think Cruyff was a bit like your George Graham, and Guardiola's like your Wenger in terms of he got something in a club, and he's sort of run with it as opposed to.
No, I think Wenger used that stability that George Graham had instilled in the back four, but what he did to football and the way that the game was played, certainly in England, he changed it. That approach, the way he approached it as a sports science, the way he approached the dietitian side of it, and the way that the games were approached. He changed everything for that, for every club up and down the land, because everybody looked at what Arsenal were doing and what Wenger had brought to the club. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't just him, because Bergkamp was doing that diet and everything before he arrived. Yeah. And the people like Ian Wright were looking at him and thinking, what's this guy doing? And then Wenger turns up, this is the way we do it.
Yeah,
I thought Merson and all them set the diet and stuff.
Is it a liquid diet?
They definitely set a trend. Listen, the thing is, in those days, the amount of stuff those guys drank, they were still better than Spurs. Keep that in mind.
It's just when you read a couple of their autobiographies and they turn around, they talk about like, let's just say, copious amounts of beer drunk on the Friday night before a game, and then they were talking about, I remember Ray Parlin, he was saying that there was a game where he'd been, I think he was due to be on the subs bench or something. There was an injury and he was in the starting lineup or something, and he was in the director's bar, and he had to have a couple of sherbets just to calm his nerves, and then he had a couple more, and it's just like, geez, this is like before a game. This isn't like the day before. This is like half an hour before.
He was still, if you read his autobiography, I recommend you do, Ray Parler's, because it's fantastic. But he was still doing it under Wenger. But where we'd won the league with Wenger and they were getting on the plane, and Ray picked up a beer and Wenger put his hand on his arm and said, "No, Ray, we've got the FA Cup final this weekend. Don't have a beer. You'll thank me for this." And he went, "Yeah, whatever." Snuck back, had a few beers on the plane on the way back, then went out on a bender. Like, literally, he says we went out on a 24-hour bender. Turned up for the FA Cup final and scored. Obviously scores that absolute. It's only Ray Parler goal.
Parley.
Yeah, and he was coming off at the end, and Wenger put his arm around him and said, "See, Ray, I was right not to let you have that beer, wasn't I?" And he went, "Yeah, whatever, Cluzo."
Is it?
Yeah, it's genius, honestly. Yeah, Ray Parler's autobiography, give it a read because it's just funny.
But it's weird because I say it's funny because you got a bit of a drinking culture at United as well back in the day, but Fergie always knew, and whether Wenger did, I don't know if they did or not, but Fergie in and around Manchester would have all of his spies out, and again, you read a couple of quotes from a couple of the younger lads that used to go out around Manchester and enjoy beer and stuff, and they'd get in like the following day, and Fergie was like, "Oh, how was?" And he'd name this bar, and these lads were like, "How the fudging hell did you know I was in there, Sully?" And he had all his spies, so nothing got past Fergie. But he was very much like,
No, I believe it. I believe it as well.
You know what I mean? And I say it's weird. So the network of people that he had in and around the bars and this and that and stuff. So, but anyway, so I say enough about football. I did want to ask you, actually, and I didn't ask you last week. Hot tub news. Are you still enjoying the hot tub?
Every night. Yeah, we're in it every night. Apart from Tuesday night is my one night off it when we're recording. And to be honest, with the weather outside, I'm not sure I'd have gone in anyway.
I was going to say, so mate. So I'm just throwing it out there. I suspect I know the answer. So yourself, Bo, Andy, Gaz. Is that how it's going to work? Is it?
Yeah, bring your trunks, dudes. Bring your trunks. We'll have a few beers
off the speedos.
Please do. Yeah, we don't want dust in the filter.
So honestly, I mean, I know people, they have it and they're sort of. Some people are disappointed. Some people, yeah, it's great. Are you genuinely still like, yeah, it's mint?
Genuinely, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, the price of electricity and gas we know is going up. I'm not having my electricity bill for running it yet, so
I was going to say, have you seen your bill yet or not?
Yeah, not yet. No, we're tied into a deal for a couple of years though, so we should be okay. But honestly, it's a game changer in terms of because we've gone through a period where you couldn't really go out and do a great deal, and that was the reason why we bought it. Obviously, it turned up after we can actually start doing stuff, but that's by the by. But you get into a point where you're in of an evening, you can't really do anything. You'll grab a beer. I'll be on a laptop looking into stuff for the podcast and what have you. Kim's doing some of the stuff. She loves doing the crafting stuff. And then you'll stick the TV on in the background. You end up watching stuff that you're not interested in. But when you're out there, there's no TV. You sat and you actually talk. So it is actually a little bit of a lifestyle change as well. And it's quite nice.
Have a drink.
And you can have, I just take, I just put it a plastic glass, take it outside. That's not really changed that much.
So when you said that you sit in your laptop and you sort of you look for things, podcasts and stuff, have you actually found some sort of glass holder that you can attach to the hot tub that actually holds a pint glass or a wine glass or?
We've got a table to sit next to it, so you can stick your glasses on top of it, and obviously it's got cup holders all around it as well. So yeah, it's all good. The one thing I will say this: there is a downside to it as well. It's given me a discoloured ring.
Beautiful. Yeah. Nobody wants to
My wedding ring, you see, was white gold, but it started going gold. I don't really like the colour of gold, if I'm really honest. But yeah, it's changed the colour. I don't know if it's the bromine in it or whatever, but it's affecting the colour of my ring.
Innuendo bingo again, folks. So you would heartily recommend it then?
Yeah, I really would. Don't get me wrong, they're not cheap, but I think it's been worth every penny that we've paid for it.
And I suppose it's one, and I'm not saying that you and Kim never spoke because you were, but I suppose if you look at it as a lifestyle choice change, and you go out there and okay, you can have a couple of beers, but actually just sit there and you just talk, as opposed to, as you said, you just, somebody's watching something downstairs on a TV and somebody's elsewhere in another room on a laptop, and it's a.
There's no other distractions. You're not going to sit there on your phone. You're not going to be watching TV. You're not looking at the computer. You've not got your tablet, whatever, in your hand. You're just sitting, you're having a conversation. You're talking about things, actually. You get deeper in. Don't get me wrong. We do talk, obviously. And certainly we've always said with the kids, when at mealtime, we all sit down around the same table. We don't sit with our meals on our knees in front of the TV. We sit down around the table. That's important to have that family time. And I recommend that for everybody. But to actually sit and get deeper into conversations, we talk about things. The other night we were discussing just exactly what we were talking about earlier. The different
miscoloured rings.
The miscoloured ring, yeah, exactly, yeah. I knew you'd enjoy that one, Andy.
He's just sitting in the background. You just hear this deep belly rumbled laugh in the background. Ring. It's like a Beavis and Butthead, isn't it? He said ring. He said ring. He said ring.
Brilliant.
I'll go on mute.
What were you talking about then? What did you say? You said because you sat there, you were talking.
We were talking obviously about the view of the police at the moment with everything that's happening, and just general. I don't like to get too deep into politics. I've lost a lot of faith in politics over not just the last 12, 18 months, but really going back to Brexit. I've lost a lot of faith in British politics and probably politics abroad, if I'm honest, as well.
Yeah. So sort of moving on before we delve sort of too far into the murky world of Brexit politics. I think we've sort of done that on a podcast before, and we don't want to go there again. Sort of chatting to Jenny tonight, and we're actually contemplating, and I think we've booked tickets to go and see the new Bond film. I think we're going to go tomorrow night. Andy, obviously with little sort of Jackson around, and I'm assuming you haven't seen it. Are you a Bond fan? Is it something that you are into, or?
I love Bonds. I think this one looks really good as well because I think they've got everything right from what I've seen so far. Like a decent baddie and all that sort of stuff. I was disappointed with Skyfall, and I've not watched the one after that.
Yeah.
But no, sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, and are you a sort of a Bond fan?
I'm not, dude. No, I'm not. I really don't enjoy Bond. I haven't enjoyed Bond since Roger Moore. I loved A View to a Kill. I love Live and Let Die. But nah, there was a campy humour to it. It takes itself too seriously. I don't like it.
Have you seen any of the Daniel Craig Bonds or not? Or not? Honestly, no. I mean,
No.
I haven't been to the cinema to watch a Bond film in years. I don't even remember the last one I went to watch. I like Bond. I'm looking forward to watching it. I do think Daniel Craig is a decent Bond, to be fair. Andy, obviously more to you. If you're a Bond fan, what's your thoughts on a female 007 then?
I don't really care. I mean, 007 is just a moniker, isn't it? It doesn't really symbolise anything in particular. I'd rather see. There's a few actors I'd rather see do it first. Like it's Idris Elba.
Yeah. See, because he was in the running effectively before Daniel Craig got it, because everyone's like, are you going to have a black guy playing Bond? Are you going to have a female Bond? And Idris Elba was, because if you've seen him in Luther, which is a sort of TV series, he's brilliant in Luther, and I quite like Idris Elba. So
I can't stand him.
Really?
He annoys the piss out of me. I'm sorry.
Why? Do you not like him on the Sky adverts?
Oh no! He's so cocky. He winds me up. I can't be
When
doing it.
you're a millionaire.
Well, that's the problem. Is that level of self-love doesn't need to be seen. It's well, that sounded wrong, didn't it?
but if you're at that level, do you not need a little bit of that in order to get on in that sort of world?
Every time I've seen him in something, he plays the same. There's that smugness that comes across over the screen. I can't be doing with him.
That's what.
Yeah, exactly. So who would be your Bond then, Ad? Who would be if you were to choose somebody? Who would be your perfect Bond?
I don't know. I think let's bring a bit of cheesiness back to the role. I don't know. Rowan Atkinson could he do it? You know.
Didn't he? What was
Johnny English?
Johnny English. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't care enough for the Bond franchise. Anyway, it's not one I've ever really.
You've never because I'm a massive Bond fan and I'm a massive.
No, I know you are. Yeah, and
I'm a massive Bourne fan as well. You know the Jason Bourne series. I'm a massive Bourne fan. Sort of.
I prefer that to
Treadstone, and I actually Matt Damon. I actually think he's quite cool in that.
He is. I know. I enjoyed Roger Moore. Genuinely enjoyed Roger Moore, but I like Roger Moore as an actor, so I'd watch it more for Roger Moore. I used to love him in The New Persuaders. I loved The Saint after he'd taken over from Ian Ogilvy, and obviously he's brilliant in Cannonball Run.
So, and if you were to say, obviously Idris Elba, anyone else that you may be thinking of, or
Yeah, I got like Tom Hardy. I think he might be quite good. But what I'd like to see is them pick someone on credit rather than the colour of the skin or sex. You know what I mean? It should be like who would suit the role. And who was going to say then? Henry Cavill.
Oh yeah, Henry Cavill. Yeah, it's a Superman.
Superman guy. Yeah, I think he'd be brilliant. Yeah. But I mean, like, it should be picked on someone right for the role, not saying, "Oh well, we need to tick these little boxes. Let's have like, a female Bond. Yeah, do a female Bond if you want, but make sure it's someone that suits that role. Don't just pick some random person off like Games of Thrones or someone who's weak at acting."
So is that whose tip? Sorry, is that whose tip? Someone from a game?
No. I just it came to my mind because of like X-Men. You had that blonde girl from it.
Now that might get me to the cinema. Wrestling some guy on the floor outside of a London pub.
Check your emails, guys, quick.
I'd pay good money to see that.
But no, I think I'm with Andy here. I mean, I like Bond. There's been a couple of stinkers. I wasn't a massive Timothy Dalton fan, I'll be honest. Yeah, I did enjoy, Roger Moore, but I think that was just because he was the Bond that was Bond when I was sort of growing up. Obviously, Sean Connery, I do like, a couple of films that he's been in, but he was pre me and Adam age sort of thing. Daniel Craig, I do think is excellent. Where do you stand on? Does it have to be sort of British as such? And I know Bond is quintessential, and before you say, "Oh, you can't be anywhere," but an American actor putting on a British accent to play the character, or does it have to be English or British?
I think it can be. You see, Christian Bale's one of my. I think he's an amazing actor, and he does American accents, so I can't.
Well, I'll give you that one. For the most part, I always think this when you're watching a film, they got a British accent doing, and a British actor, doing an American accent, often poorly. You think, just get an American actor to do the role. Yeah. There are exceptions to that. The dude from what's his name? He was in Walking Dead. The guy who played Rick in that. He does a very good. Yeah.
Andrew Lincoln.
That's the fella. Yeah. He does a fantastic American accent. So if you can get someone to do a convincing English accent, why not making him a Scouser, someone in a broad accent like that, rather than.
I'd rather see like a
quintessentially. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Get Claire Baldwin playing Bond. That would be quite good, I think.
Imagine if it's a Scouse accent and there's like they just have spit on the screen all the time, right?
Shaking that steed.
The name's Bond. James Bond.
Jimmy Bond.
Do we KD Blue, our lad?
We've just alienated everyone in Liverpool, and we're not sorry.
So obviously, we're gonna go and have a watch. We're gonna go and have a watch tomorrow. Just it's allegedly, Daniel Craig's last sort of Bond film as such. And I'd be interested to see, as you said, Andy, where the franchise goes in terms of, are they not bow to pressure, but are they going to sort of say, well, we have to have a female 007, or we have to have, a black 007 or whatever? Because, you've had, obviously Rami Malek is a bad guy, and he's fantastic, and I suppose he came to prominence when he played Freddie Mercury in the Queen film and stuff, and that was his big breakthrough, and he's now, I think, on the back of that, now got the Bond villain. But I'm hoping it's decent. I'm hoping it's, I say worth a watch. It's taken quite a lot of money and stuff, so well, we'll wait and see. But again, it just gets you thinking I'd love that guy to play it. I'd love that guy to have played it and stuff. And we've done this before, film podcasts and stuff, haven't we? So, what was the last film? I don't know whether or not you are film buffs. What was the last one that you did see when you went to the pictures?
Really? Because you're gonna ask me that, dude, are you?
Yeah,
I can tell you, I know what it was. I haven't been for like 2 years, and it was Peppa Pig.
Is it Frozen or Peppa Pig?
No, it was Peppa Pig, the one where they go to the festival. Yeah, I'm not proud of that. The last film I went to see.
Andy's laughing now, but what you see.
Listen, he's got this
all to come.
And the next film I'm going to see, in all likelihood, is 3 weeks' time. It's half term, so I'm going to be watching Paw Patrol. Bit more excited about that, if I'm honest. I don't mind that so much.
We've got tickets for, I think it's Riverdance. I think we've got tickets for. I think it was a Christmas present from like 18 months ago, or whatever. Obviously due to COVID and stuff. So I think we've got that, which is a bit random, but I'm sort of strangely really looking forward to it, because I think it will be decent. And I know a couple of people have sort of seen it, and they've said, as a spectacle, it proper is good. It's obviously not Michael Flatley, because he's about 150 now, however old he is. But so what was the last film you went to see then, Andy, at the cinema? Can you remember?
I think it was Avengers Endgame, but I can't remember. I remember seeing that at the cinema, but I can't remember if it was the last one or not.
See, I haven't been to the cinema for so long.
Prior to that, I went to see England Is Mine, and I went by myself. Actually, it's the first time I've ever been by myself to the cinema, which is the Smiths biopic. Sort of Morrissey's early life up until, and it sort of ends when Johnny Marr comes and meets him, and they're just about to form the Smiths. And actually, the film really hasn't got very many good reviews. I don't understand it. I actually think it's a really, really good film, and it's well worth a watch.
To be fair, it's probably surprised about Morrissey, so you know what I mean.
I was going to say, I'm surprised Kim didn't go. That's one. No. And when you say you were on your own, was that like you're the only one in the cinema, or?
I actually was. I actually was. I went to the one in Knutsford, and
it's small, that one, isn't it?
Yeah, actually no, I've been to one since I went to see one of the Star Wars movies one in Altrincham, and that place, I forget what it's. Is it the Everyman Theatre in Altrincham, where they bring you a burger to your seat? Obviously you have to pay for it, but they bring you food to your seat. You get beer and burger while you're watching the film. It's phenomenal. I just wish I hadn't eaten before I went out, because the food looked fantastic. But I tell you, here's a film that I'm a little bit excited about. Will I get to see it at the cinema? I don't know, with two young kids. If I get the opportunity, I will, but I'll probably be going by myself. Ghostbusters Afterlife, does that one grab you?
Just for me, because he got decent people in it. Last one that was just absolute garbage.
Garbage.
I don't know, because I was so anti the newer Ghostbusters. Do you know what I mean? I was like, it was so bad. Well,
this one's done by Josh Reitman, who I'm guessing is some relation of Ivan. I'm going to guess.
Ivan, son or whatever.
So, he's talking about it. They're not even, he sort of said, we're not trying to make the best Ghostbusters movie, because that's already been made. We're not going to top that. What we want to do is something that people who went to see that when they were younger, that they can buy into this now. And this is going to be a little bit of nostalgia, a little bit of their childhood brought back and put on that big shining silver screen for them to enjoy. And I thought, I like that, dude. I like what you're selling me there. I've seen the clips of Ecto 1. I'm a little bit excited about it. I love Ghostbusters. I think it's a fantastic film. Ghostbusters 2 is okay, but Ghostbusters I think is a great, great film. And I did see it at the cinema many, many moons ago.
I don't know. I'm just there's very few sequels and remakes and that float my boat in terms of making me want to go and see it. And obviously, the original Ghostbusters was just great. 2, the remake when they were, and nothing against any of the female actresses, but it was just woeful.
It is as a start. If you can distance yourself from that original film and take it as a standalone film, it's tolerable. It's tolerable. It's okay. It's a watchable film. Obviously, in terms of a comparison, it is, as Andy says, garbage.
It is garbage. So, but no, I say we'll go. We'll watch Bond. We'll no doubt review it.
I'd be interested to hear. Like I say, it's not something I buy into, but I get why people are interested in it. I get the catch. I get the attachment to it. It's not for me, but I understand why people would like it.
Yeah. So as I say, we'll wait and see. We've got tickets. I think the kids are going to, whether they watch the Bond or not, I think they might be watching some teen trashy crappy thing that's on another picture or another screen or whatever maybe. But looking forward to it. So we'll wait and see. I'll do a bit of a review for this next week. I don't know. Are we about an hour now? I don't know what are we. We're about an hour, I think so.
Yeah, it's nearest, damn
it. So again, a couple of left turns. We've chatted as per normal. We've done a bit of an NFL corner. We've done a bit of a football sort of review. So, do you want to sort of say goodbyes or give any shout outs if there's anybody that you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I do have a couple of shout-outs, if you don't mind. First of all, again, another couple of podcasters who I didn't shout out last week, but I am going to shout them out this week because Tiddy and Shana is back in Tulsa now, so I'm looking forward to having the Tiddy and Shana show back on a weekly basis. They skipped a couple of weeks here and there when it wasn't practical for them to do so. So, yeah, really, really looking forward to hearing the Tiddy and Shana show get back on that weekly trail. And then the other one, obviously, Johnny Simon. Every week he listens to the podcast and drops me a message saying how much he enjoyed it afterwards. So, yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Johnny, for listening. Then my last shout out is to a guy called Dave, who's hopefully going to be joining us next week on the podcast. And he has challenged me. How do you guys shop at Aldi, just out of interest?
I've done previously, but yeah, sometimes, yeah.
And what's your take on the fact that they rip off other people's products and do a very similar thing? What do you make of that? Being good.
I haven't got a problem with it.
Well, they've done something recently where there's this very famous beer that I'm quite fond of, which happens to be the Titanic Plum Porter. Well, they've done a version of that, and our good pal Dave has challenged me to see if I can tell the difference. So next week, I will be doing a live taste test of this very similar looking product, and hoping that I'm not going to ruin my reputation by not being able to tell the difference betwixt the two. But yeah, that's me for this week. So I'll see you all next week. I've enjoyed it. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. And I'm going to finish before I hand over to you guys on a Dr. Seuss quote and say, don't cry because this episode's over. Smile because it happened.
Beautiful. Andy, I've got absolutely no doubt you're going to follow that with some pearl of wisdom. So, do you want to say goodbyes? Give any shout outs?
I can go after that quote. Just hope everyone's enjoying the new podcast. It's a lot easier for me to do anyway. I can just sit here and drink now. Ideal. And on that note, ciao.
Thanks, guys, for making this podcast enjoyable again. I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed being in this hot seat. I really enjoy the new format as well. I think I just enjoy chatting shit with you lads. It's pretty cool. Enjoy a couple of beers. So enjoyed it. Look forward to next week. Look forward to Adam's taste test next week. Look forward to a couple of episodes coming up. Bo coming over. Look forward to, potentially one or two sort of guests, rejoining us. So all good things to happen. And if you haven't hit us up yet on Twitch, do so. And we'll look forward to seeing you then when we live stream. See you later, guys.